Hello, welcome to another YouTube Live. Here we are every Monday. I offer a free class, and this is your chance to ask any questions about NLP, about emotions, about how to reduce anxiety, how to uncover the truth of who you are through using NLP, through using numerology, and through using some embodiment practices as well. And creativity. So, yeah, lots of things can help us. And in today's session, I want to talk about numerology. I've done a couple of lives on numerology before, but not that many. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about it today because it's something that a lot of people are interested in, yet don't know much about. And it can be a really wonderful modality to really understand ourselves at a very deep level. So, what is numerology? It might sound a little bit weird for some people. It's understanding who we are at a deep soul level. There are many different types and forms, and the one that I use comes from Pythagoras. So I'm sure that you've heard of Pythagoras. Maybe you learned about him at school. And part of his work, a huge part of his work that a lot of us were not taught about at school, is numerology. We were taught about other parts of his work, but numerology is a huge part, and it's a fascinating science, sacred science of numbers. And this is the thing. We have understood for many years, science has proven this many, many times, that everything is vibrating. Everything's made up of vibrating particles of energy and space and all of that. I won't go into all the details, but just to set the foundation here, that we know from science that everything's made up of energy. And this includes the words that we speak, this includes numbers, this includes the food that we consume, this includes the drinks that we drink, this includes everything. Everything is made up of energy. And what Pythagoras and his students were working on is understanding that there are different frequencies, different energetic makeups for different numbers, and each number represents its own unique meaning, and it has its own message. And it's really fascinating just through identifying our date of birth and adding all of that together, we can get a really interesting insight into the core of who we are, like what lessons we've come here to learn, what lessons we like what karmic lessons perhaps we're here to balance out and to learn about in this lifetime. And it really depends on your beliefs as well. For some people this might not really resonate, and if it doesn't, if your logical mind is saying yeah, numerology, that this is not really my thing, I invite you to listen to this class that I'm giving and just get curious. And at the end, if it still doesn't resonate, then of course, by all means, believe what you want to believe. Everyone has free will. Though you might find something interesting about yourself and about others. So stick around, and you might learn something interesting about what I'm going to share about numerology and what it means for you personally. Because this is the thing, we're not on one level we're all very similar, but also on another level we're all very different, and we've come here to learn specific things in this lifetime. And this is really fascinating, and numerology can give us an insight into our strengths, our weaknesses, the things that come easy, the things that perhaps come a bit challenging for us, like the gifts that we have to offer the world, like what things that we can offer. So many different things. It can give insights into what things make it a lot easier for us to reduce anxiety and come back to a place of calm, what can help us boost confidence, and tap into our authentic confidence, what self-care practices are useful. There are so many different layers to this, and what I've done in recent workshops is talking about that, and also exploring a little bit about movement as well. Those of you who have been to my workshops or have followed my work for a while, that dance is something that I bring into my work as well. And when we blend numerology with movement, with dance, now that's an interesting experience. That's really interesting, just to explore how each number, each meaning can be expressed and explored on the dance floor as well. So for today's class, I wanted to explore a little bit about this whole year that we've gone through, and what lessons perhaps have come up for us individually, and did this happen for you? Now that we're coming to the end of the year, we can get curious and look back and take a moment to reflect. And this is a really wonderful thing to do, to really take a moment of pause. Sometimes the Christmas period can become very busy. There's a lot of activity, there's a lot of events, a lot of celebration for some people. Not everyone's celebrating, but for many people there's a time of celebration, a lot of activity. And if we look at nature, nature is actually going inwards. It's actually slowing down. It's actually hibernating. If you're in the northern hemisphere, obviously in the southern hemisphere it's slightly different. Though regardless of what time of year it is, regardless of what's going on, it's really important to have these moments of where we pause, we stop and reflect, and we take a moment to look back, because otherwise we're just going forward and doing and busy, and we don't actually take a moment to stop and realize that perhaps actually we may have learnt, grown and evolved more than we thought we had. Or perhaps there were gifts that we haven't taken a moment to appreciate. And all of this is really, really important to take a moment to acknowledge that. So this is something that I wanted to look at. And with numerology, there are many numbers that we can calculate. And the one that I wanted to calculate in today's class, to give you an insight, is what your personal year number is for this year, 2023. So this current year, like what your personal year number is. Now, we can calculate this by adding the date that we're born, so the day, the month, and then instead of our year of birth, so whatever that is, whether it's 1972 or 1989 or 1990, like whatever that date is, rather than doing that, we add in the current year, so it's 2023. So for example, if someone was born on, I'm just making this date up, if someone was born on the 11th of February, so then we would do 1 plus 1 plus 2, and then the year 2023 would be plus 2 plus 2 plus 3. So you add all of that up, and then you get whatever digit comes up, and then you keep reducing that digit until it comes to a single digit. Now, there is a thing called master numbers in numerology, but when we're calculating the year and our personal year numbers, we don't keep those master numbers. We just keep reducing it down until it's one single digit. So someone might come up with the number 2, other people might come up with the number 3, other people might come up with the number 4. Whatever that number is, you can calculate that. So that's the day of when you were born, like, so the day, and then the month that you were born, and then the current year, 2023. And sum all of that up together, reduce it to one single digit, and then you get your number for this current year, 2023. Because we have our personal year number, and there is also a number for the collective, for the global energy. So for example, well, this year, 2023, was a year number 7 collectively, globally. So there was a lot of introspection, there was a lot of truth seeking, there was a lot of discovering our truth of life and what it means for us, and connecting to something beyond the physical. So connecting to that spiritual element of life, whatever that means for us. Learning and studying, and also learning about technology improving, and a big focus on technology. So that's what we've been in collectively. But If you calculated a different number, so that was the meaning for 7. But if you calculated a different number, that's your personal number for this year. And I'll explain a little bit more about what each of those numbers are from 1 to 9, because we work with the numbers from 1 to 9 in numerology. And then you can have a little insight into what this year was all about for you. And again, if anything doesn't resonate, just leave it. So if you calculated number 1, number 1 was the year all about stepping into your independence, stepping into your leadership, like leading your own life, living your own life. And perhaps there were some lessons about not being so influenced about opinions of other people and learning to move in your own direction and living life according to you and really learning about yourself. It's coming back to the self. And number 1 is sometimes there can be this tendency to be a little bit impatient and wanting to rush forward and do things. And maybe there were some lessons there about patience and finding the balance between you and also others, and not being so focused on others, bringing the focus back to yourself, but then also not being so focused on you. That like finding that balance. But it's very much about living life according to the beat of your own drum. So that was number 1, if you had number 1. So if you had that number, take a little look back over the year. Was that relevant for you? Did that happen for you? Were there opportunities where you were invited by life to really step into your independence and to live life for you? Just take a moment to consider that. And if you calculated number 2, number 2 is all about balance and harmony. So I like to see number 2 almost like, if we're talking about astrology, it'll be, for example, the Libra of astrology. So it's very much about balance, those scales, and it's about working in partnerships, working with the other. So there will be lessons in relationships and friendships and family. There'll also be lessons in finding that balance within yourself between the internal masculine and feminine, and also emotions. There can be heightened sensitivity, there can be a lot of emotions that come up, and it's number 2 years really about teamwork, balance, and finding that harmony within relationships, but also within yourself, and listening to your intuition. So if you had number 2 for this year, then just take a little look back. Did that happen for you? Were there experiences that perhaps brought up emotions, or there are opportunities for you to learn about your emotions and connect to your emotions, or perhaps improve relationships as well, or let go of relationships that were no longer serving you? So moving on, number 3. So if you calculated number 3 is the creative communicator. It's all about self-expression. So if you had 3 for this year, 3 is the year, like when you have 3 for your years, it's all about self-expression, like getting creative, being social, connecting with others, communicating your truth, not holding back, like communicating your truth and doing that in a creative way, and really speaking. Like, it's all about communication and expressing yourself. When there's an imbalance there, sometimes there can be the tendency to hold back and not share anything, and keep quiet, and find it challenging to speak up for your needs or express emotions. But that's part of the lesson. So if you had number 3 for this year, perhaps there were opportunities this year where you were invited to ask for what you needed, or to express your truth. Like if something upset you, or something didn't feel right, or if you needed to set a boundary, that there were invitations for you to do that this year. And also perhaps start a creative project, or like start up a creative hobby. Or also perhaps there were new connections, there were maybe new friends, or you met new people, or new relationships, that different connections, like the social setting. Maybe there were some changes in your social setting. So just take a moment to reflect back. Like if you had number 3, did that happen? Did that happen for you? And of course, this is not to say that if we had that number, that's how it was for the whole year, every single moment. Of course, like life brings everything. It brings many different opportunities, different lessons, and perhaps there were other things that happened as well. But it's just interesting to notice, like just through numerology, that we can get a little insight into what we were being invited to learn about this year personally, and what we were being given an opportunity to learn, grow, and evolve in this year personally. So it can be really interesting. Moving on, so number 4, if you calculated number 4 is the number all about structure, discipline, step by step, building the foundation, getting rid of anything that doesn't work or doesn't serve, and really creating a new foundation for the future. And it's about destroying, like getting rid of the old and planting the seeds for the new. So it can be a year where there's a lot of effort and hard work needed sometimes, and sometimes it can feel like quite a hard slog. The number 4 year, obviously depending on the individual and how they take it. So if you had number 4, just have a think back, like were you invited to really put in the effort and really plant the seeds for your future, like what you need and what you want for the future, and to let go of things that don't work. And sometimes with number 4, there can be a big focus about home and the house as well. So maybe there were some self-improvements in terms of the house. Maybe there was a change of house. Maybe you started a new project or started something new, or something about your future and the foundation for your future. So just take a moment to reflect on that. If you had number 4, like did that happen? And then moving on, number 5. So if you calculate a number 5 is the year all about travel, adventure, exploration, learning through experiences. So really getting into the zest of life and living life through the experience, and like seeing life as an adventure and seeking the freedom. And one of the lessons of number 5 is remembering that freedom comes from within. Sometimes there can be the tendency to want to rebel or feel restricted according to outside circumstances, but it's really about remembering that inner freedom, and just is that phrase, freedom is a state of mind. So it's like really remembering that you have ultimate control over how you choose to see things and experience things in life. Obviously, there can be outside influences that can make it challenging or easier, though ultimately we have a choice as well. So number 5, if you had number 5 this year, did you allow yourself to learn some new things? Did you experience some new things? Perhaps you traveled somewhere, or you explored something, new experiences, new country, a new hobby, whatever that was. Just have a little look back. And if for any of these numbers and the numbers that I'm going to continue explaining, if you didn't do any of these things or you didn't notice these things, that's okay also. If you felt that there was the need to do that, but you didn't pay attention and you didn't do that, then there's still a little bit of time. And obviously, like I'm talking about numerology in terms of the end, like the calendar year that we have in the Western world. Though also what can happen with numerology is that it's from your birthday that it gets heightened. So wherever your birthday is, that opportunity is like a door opens and that becomes even more available. So, for example, if I had, I didn't, but if, for example, if I had a number 5 year this year, then the door would open in January, but then it becomes even more prominent from my birthday, and my birthday's in May. So then it'll become even more prominent in May and for a year until my following birthday. But we tend to notice that the door opens from like January to January, but then it kind of hangs around a little bit in time of your birthday as well. And so, yeah, that's number 5. And number 6, if you calculated number 6 is all about giving and receiving. It's the unconditional love. It's the being of service and being of service to those around you. It can have a knock-on effect, and you can be of service to like humanity and on a global level. Though the number 6 is very much about family, friendships, romantic relationships. And it's also a lot about responsibility. So perhaps there were some lessons there in responsibility. Were you invited by life to step up, be responsible? Or did you feel overwhelmed or overburdened by responsibilities? Perhaps there were a lot of responsibilities this year, or issues with friends, family, relationships. It can be a year where there's a lot of focus on the interactions with others, and making sure that you're not giving too much and forgetting yourself, and also that you're open to receiving. It's that balance of giving and receiving. So that's number 6. So if you had number 6, just take a moment to reflect and just notice, did that happen for you? Were there those invitations? And it can be, yeah, really interesting. Just take a moment to pause and reflect and think back over the year. And then, so moving on, so number 7, I mentioned briefly in the very beginning, because this was a global, collective number 7 year. But if you had a personal number 7 year as well, then it's the same thing. So number 7 is all about seeking the truth, like your truth, finding your truth in life, and also remembering that spiritual element of life, like not being so focused on the material and opening up to something more, that there's a deeper thread of life that runs through everything and everyone, and whatever that is, not to follow a religion blindly or a particular dogma. It's to find what is your truth, your personal truth, like about life. And even if you don't find all the answers, it's just having that time to explore and just having that moment to think about it and reflect about life. This is what the number 7 is all about. It's the truth seeker, and the truth seeker that contemplates and reflects on life and gets curious and wants to learn. And perhaps you learned something new this year. Perhaps you studied something. Perhaps you learned something about technology. There's a lot of influence there with spirituality, science, and technology with number 7. So perhaps there was something new that you learned this year. And if you didn't, and you do want to learn something new, it's never too late. So that's number 7. And we got 2 more. So number 8, if you calculated number 8, number 8 is the number which is all about manifestation, abundance, material wealth. So number 7 was very much about the non-physical, and number 8 is the complete opposite. It's all about the physical. It's all about abundance, wealth, finances, career, status, personal power, like stepping into your power. So when number 8 comes up, perhaps this was a year for you to step into your power, know your worth, not allow other people to dominate you, and also not to dominate other people, and to really get your finances in order and to sort out things to do with your career and like what you wanted to do with your career and your work. and to make some changes there. And so it's a year very much about, it's a great year to let go of any limiting beliefs about money. It's a great year to really transform how you see money. It's a year to let go of any limiting beliefs about your work or anything related to work and career and finances and all of that. It's a wonderful year to focus on what you want and not what you don't want. So it can be expressed in two ways, because when the 8 energy is there, it can be very quick and easy to manifest things, and it's important to focus on what you want, and then you can call in those things. So just take a little look back over the year. If you had number 8 for this year, did that happen? Were there some changes or opportunities that came up in terms of money or your career or work? Maybe you noticed some more abundance there, or things came a little bit more easy, or maybe there were some challenges there and it was an invitation to step into your power. And then the final number 9, because we go from 1 to 9 in numerology, and for the personal years we don't have any master numbers. So, and master numbers are 11, 22, 33, 44. Those are numbers, but for personal years and collective years, we only go from 1 to 9. So number 9, the final number, this is the number all about being of service again. So similar to number 6, but this is on a global level. This is seeing more of the global picture and focusing more on humanity and wanting to help humanity and be of service, be the humanitarian. So perhaps there were opportunities, or perhaps there was a desire for wanting to help and support charities, wanting to help others, wanting to start up a project, or wanting to do something that can help other people to really remember who they are or help them in life in some way, like to be of service. Number 9 is also about endings. So number 1 is all about beginnings. So if you had number 1 for this year, like not only is it all about stepping into your independence, but it's also about starting new things. So maybe you changed course, maybe you brought something new into your life. And number 9 is the opposite. It's all about endings. So number 9 years can be pretty potent, and maybe there were some things that you needed to let go of. Maybe some things fell away, maybe some relationships, or maybe some things that you're holding on to in terms of like a job or a house or something that wasn't working anymore. Number 9 year invites you to let those go, to just let those go. Whatever's not working, just let it go and create space for the next year to come, which will bring in the new energy. So number 9 year is all about forgiveness, letting go, transforming, ending cycles, releasing. There can be a lot of emotions that come up. There can be a lot of things that come up, and it's just like, okay, I surrender. I surrender. I focus on my truth and connect with my highest good, and surrender. So that is the number 9. So if you had number 9 year, just have a little look back over the year. Like, did that happen? Were there opportunities to let things go? Or did things fall away that were not really working? Just take a moment to reflect on that. So those are all the numbers. And so it's interesting just to notice, just to take that moment to reflect. And next week will be the final YouTube Live of this year. I've done a whole year of YouTube Lives. Can you believe it? I started this year, 2023, with this intention to do a YouTube Live every week. And I've done every week, apart from a few weeks in the summer. I had a break, obviously, for the summer holiday. And most of the time I was doing YouTube Lives. So next week will be the final one of the year, because the one after that I'm traveling, and then it's the festive season, and I won't be doing any more this year. So I thought this class would be useful to have a little look back over the year, like what we have what we've explored, like been invited to connect to, what we've been invited to learn according to our personal year, and also then next week we can go into what the year to come will bring. So 2024, what it will bring on a global level and what it will bring on a personal level. So I'll talk about that next week. So I'd love to hear in the comments section, like what was your number for this year, and did that resonate? Did you notice those themes playing out? And if not, what was your theme for this year? Though I'm pretty sure that you will notice that there's some correlation there between what comes up in numerology and what you experience, because that door opened up and there was that opportunity there, and your soul was given an opportunity to step into that and to learn from that. So I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section. If there's any comments there, anything you wish to share. And if you're in the Barcelona area, I have a couple of workshops coming, well, not workshops, a couple of events coming up. So tomorrow, Tuesday the 12th. So if you're watching the replay, maybe this is not valid anymore, though have a look at my website because there'll be other events happening. But on Tuesday, the 12th of December, so tomorrow in Barcelona, there's a women's circle, and spaces are filling up for this particular one. It's a hot topic. It's all about body, our relationship with our bodies. So if you're a woman, if you're in the Barcelona area, if you want to join us tomorrow evening, you are more than welcome. There's a few spots left, so just get in contact. You can send me a WhatsApp at +34 6226 98673, and we'll have a lovely evening where we will have some drinks and snacks, and we'll be in community with women, and we can share and learn and grow and evolve together, and really support each other in transforming our relationship with our body. I'll also include some embodiment practices where we can bring a little more tenderness to our body and how we see our body, and also a guided visualization using NLP to reprogram how the unconscious mind views the body, and to really see the body in a different light, and to really start appreciating this wonderful physical vessel that we have to use in this lifetime. So that is tomorrow in Barcelona. It's 20 euros on the door if there are spaces left, but if you pay in advance, it's only 15 euros. And then on Friday, so Friday the 15th, this Friday, there is a dance session, Danza Libre. There's a dance session in Vilanova i Geltrú, so a town, short train ride outside of Barcelona, in a wonderful therapy center. And we have a beautiful room with a wonderful dance floor, and we can really just like have fun and de-stress and let go of any emotions or stresses from the week and come back into the body. So I provide a little bit of guidance, though it's very much free for you to connect with your body and to move how you want. There's no choreography, there's no certain steps. It's all about free movement and free expression, and really coming back to that and seeing the body and movement as a really wonderful somatic practice, like healing practice, that we can release emotions, we can de-stress, we can let go of any tension in the body and have fun whilst we do that. So that's on Friday, and there's a special offer. If you bring a friend, then it's only 18 euros. It's usually 12 euros per person. So I'd love to see you there. That would be the final one of this year, the dance session. And after that, the newsletter and the post will continue a little bit online, but there will be a little break over the festive season. I'll take a little break, much needed break, and then I'll be back in the new year with some new material, new events, and I'd love to hear what you want. So if there's something in particular that you want me to talk about in these live classes, if you want a particular event online or in person, let me know. I'd love to hear. I just love it when it becomes an interactive thing rather than just me being here and just talking. I love to hear from you and your feedback and your questions and what you want to what you want to learn, what you want to discover about yourself, and any questions you have about NLP, numerology, and creative arts and movement. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll be back next week with the final YouTube class of the year, and wishing you a wonderful evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you're watching, wherever you are. And thank you for being here, and thank you for being you. Much love.